Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's live stream AMA. I feel like my camera's not bright enough. How are we doing? Obviously, we've got some stuff to talk about today. It's gonna be a good one. So yeah, throw your questions in the YouTube live chat or the Twitter live chat, and let's keep it farmer friendly. Let's have a good time, and let's bring up Luke.
Hey everybody, excited to be here today. Yeah, we had a bigger week this week. We got a lot of updates out inside of the game. We have more stuff coming out next week. And yeah, we have a bigger feature coming out today.
Most likely.
Oh, I'm losing you, Heidi.
No, why?
Yeah, on the big announcement part. Yeah, so it looks like Merchant Ships is coming out today. It's actually in the game now. That's why we closed off the beach. We wanted to make sure that it was tested inside of the game before we had it go live. Merchant Ships is a feature that we've been working on for a while. And it's a new game feature that is basically adding like a bit more content inside of the game. It's not a task board, but it's kind of similar where it basically is a new type of thing for you to do in the game where you're earning things besides just pixel inside of the game. So I want to set the expectations around this feature. You know, it's not going to be like the most game-breaking like feature that saves all the game economics. How this feature is going to work is we're kind of starting off small with it, and it's going to be one of those features that we update and tweak, and we make a lot better over the course of the next like month or two, right? So the key concept of merchant ships and what we're trying to do is we're basically trying to create this new concept of chase content. And chase content is basically anything inside of the game that you might want besides the pixel token, right? And you might use the pixel token to try to get it. That's kind of the idea behind the like token sustainability, right? At the end of the day, what we're trying to figure out is we're trying to build a sustainable ecosystem with play to earn, and we've been making good progress towards that month on month. And there's a bunch of stuff that we need to do to make that actually happen, right? Like one of the things that we addressed this last week was, there was a larger coin OTC market forming, for example, and we repriced coins to be more competitive with that market. Now, that's kind of a short-term band-aid solution. There's more work that we're about to be doing there. But that's kind of the whole approach of like the next month, basically. So now we finally have merchant ships out. Is that like a content that you chase?
Want to kind of
Yeah.
explain that concept?
Yeah. So, I mean, basically chase content. It's like sometimes I get very
Talk slower.
I get very technical with you guys sometimes when it comes to like the ins and outs of building a game, because I think that's kind of fun to be a part of building it, right? And if you want to build the game with us, you have to talk the talk with us too, right? Because we're out there, we're building every single day. And what you guys are really helpful at is you guys are really helpful at pointing out some things that don't feel good inside of the game, some things that like are wrong, right? And the thing that we want to work with you guys together on is how we can both make the game better together, right? You guys know when things are broken, honestly, sometimes better than the team does. And that's what you guys are amazing for. That's why building in public is so helpful. So chase content is this idea when we're thinking about token sinks inside of the game. What we're working on right now, right, is to build out a sustainable ecosystem. And what that means is at the end of the day, we want to build out an ecosystem where more tokens are being spent inside of the ecosystem than we give out every single month. So yeah, the idea is if we want to do that, there's a few different things that we need to do, right? Somebody said, nah, that's a bold move, Luke. Just need more gameplay in a way that we have more ways to spend in the game. This is exactly what we're trying to get at. We need to make the game more fun for the game to be sustainable. We need more things for you guys to use the token on for it to be more sustainable. We need more end game loops. And I've realized I keep saying this word end game loop. I think a lot of people don't understand what I mean by it. When I say end game, because I've been saying this a lot recently in these AMAs, not everybody understands what I'm saying. End game basically means what do the high level players do inside of the game? So when we say that we need to add more end game inside the pixels, what I mean is we need more game mechanics and more fun things for high level players to do. Because right now, when you play the pixels game, the core game at least, your end game or the stuff that you do as a high level is basically just task board. You go to the bank, you buy coins, and then you do the task board. That's not good enough. We need more features and more gameplay for you guys to do, right? The game needs to be more fun for the higher levels who have been playing the game for a long time. And we need more different types of items in the game that you guys find valuable. And how do you guys find valuable items inside of the game? Or how do we actually make items valuable inside of the game? We need things for these items to do, right? So that's a part of these other features that we're building out right now. Merchant ships is the first feature like that we're adding into the game that adds more end game content, more things for the resources that you have now to be used for, right? So that means some of the resources that you guys have been earning, you don't just have to use them in the task board. Now there's a new system, merchant ships, where you can maybe use these resources that you've been working for to earn other items inside of the game that are not just pixel. You guys get it now, right? And once we get a few more features like this, that's when the game starts to get more interesting. So merchant ships is the first step. We're also working on other end game features. That's what chapter 3 is kind of all about too. Chapter 3 will add another functionality or another feature like this, and even more like kind of competitive cooperative gameplay too. One of the things that I think we're going to be shifting strategy on is, we have all these live ops events, right? Or all of these events that we've been doing very constantly. And one thing that maybe has been wrong about them is we've been making them very competitive. Now, you don't always have to make events or gameplay competitive to be fun and to achieve the goals that we want to achieve, right? At the end of the day, what are we trying to do here? We want to make a game that you guys think is fun. And we also want to make sure that we're, creating content that you guys want and need because the game is fun, right? So that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be PvPing all the time. Some of you actually like to work together. And that's actually, I think, what you guys liked about sports, if I'm digging into some stuff. Like, you guys liked the competitive elements, but I think when I'm hearing all of your feedback on sports and maybe other parts of what you remember about the game from chapter 1 and other eras is you guys love working together, socializing, and having like shared and common goals with your guilds or your friends or that kind of stuff. So here's what I'm thinking about with roadmap with Pixels right now. We're going to continue to work on these core sets of features that add more end game content, basically more things for the higher levels to do that make the game more fun and have the token used more and create more content that people want to be using the token to get. Basically, merchant ships is the first step. Chapter 3 is another step after that. There's also a set of economic tweaks that we need to focus on in the short term. One thing that we're about to add, and this is your warning right now, is we're adding a withdrawal tax. Withdrawal tax will be based on your reputation, and it will be semi-aggressive, right? One thing that we want to start to do is we want to make it so that people who actually want to use the token in the game are more rewarded. What's interesting is with the withdrawal tax, all the revenue inside of Pixels, right? It goes to stakers, right? And it goes to like people who are helping support and believe in the game and secure this network that we're building, right? So the withdrawal tax, it's interesting because, it's not like we're pocketing that money if we have a withdrawal tax. It's going back to the people that believe inside of the game. So basically, you're going to have a couple of options. And we're working on some other systems that make this even more fair when staking goes live in April. We're working on some stuff where maybe if you stake instead of withdrawing, you don't pay a tax. That might not be live in the first version, but that's kind of what we're thinking basically. So we're basically going to charge a little bit more of a premium for the earn mechanic. And then that goes back to the people who believe in the game in the long term, right? A lot of what we're trying to figure out too is how do we align the interest of players and how do we align the interest of like game, right? And having more people who care about the long term of the game rather than
it's good. It's good. Ignore them. It's good.
rather than instantly just like taking everything out of the game and then selling it and then like leaving the ecosystem. Like there's some mutual benefits there, right? Now, again, this is your warning. Withdrawal tax is probably going live next week. So, make your decisions, do whatever you want to do now. That will be live and it will be based on reputation. And this is also an interesting thing about land in this case. The only way that you can get highest reputation and like the lowest withdrawal tax is probably by holding more than one land transparently too. So yeah, just because you have 1,500 reputation now does not mean that there won't be any tax. That's the warning, all of that. And that's kind of going to be an effort in some of these other economic tweaks that we do. One thing that we're going to get more on top of now is what some people don't see about Pixels is we actually got very good at stopping pixel bot farmers. And it's not really as much of a thing anymore. Now the next thing to start to attack is there are coin bot farmers.
Not start to attack, just to be clear.
Not start to attack, but we're going to be we're changing some of our strategy there. So basically how the OTC coin market has kind of played out now is there's more people botting the coin market than before. What that led to is that led to cheaper coins OTC, which is actually hurting the game economy, right? It means that there's resource inflation. It means that there's coin inflation is actually not too bad, but the resource inflation is the harder part right now. And if we can start to attack some of those other mechanisms, and we have some cool things that we'll start to do there when it comes to data science and some of the other detection things that we'll be adding in. We want to start attacking the coin economics of these bots as well too. So that might mean a couple of different tweaks in the core economic systems of Pixels. That might mean things like making some of the industries that we see that are getting attacked more, like an apiary or something like that, single use. Not going to be guaranteed on that one. We're still talking about what that looks like. That might mean, restricting trading to a little bit of the reputation a bit more. That might mean changing the reputation system a little bit too, to be targeting some things that might attack these bots better and tailoring the gameplay to better like players as well too. One thing that I don't like about reputation right now is I don't think the reputation system as it is right now it's adding barriers to botting and it makes it more difficult. It adds more friction, but it doesn't stop it, right? And there's a balance with the reputation system of we don't want to make it too hard for real players to do the fun parts inside of the game, right? Like a good example is some people are saying that we should disable coin trading in the game entirely. And that is one solution that we could do to stop some of this coin botting, right? Or there might be some other tweaks that we can do too. I think disabling trading is the most extreme measure. And the reason why I'm hesitant to just do that immediately is trading is actually a quite fun part of the game, right? And we don't want to maybe remove that entirely for that reason. But also, there's trade offs as well. If trading was fun, but then having resources inflate is way less fun, then maybe it makes sense to turn off trading. But we think there's maybe some small tweaks that we can do with the reputation system because we have a system in place that still makes it so that real players can trade and access things like the marketplace sooner without making it easy for bots. Maybe that does mean something like adding, optional KYC or optional face scanning for more reputation, and that's all that we use that for, right? So we're debating some certain small tweaks and changes in the game economy like this that actually might have really big impact. Some other things that might make some big impact too is bringing more specific items on chain. So it might make sense to start bringing some more of this chase content on chain and doing all this. So the third pillar of what we're working on right now when it comes to the core game is adding back more social elements. And I can kind of give you a timeline on what we're thinking about with all of this stuff. So one of the things that we're missing in the game right now that you guys actually really liked about chapter 1, and I agree, I think we kind of over-indexed too wrong in the wrong direction, is changes to chapter 2. It brought specs and it also brought single-use industries, right? Now, there's good things about that with game economy. We saw coin inflation drop significantly after chapter 2 and chapter 2.5 updates, and a lot of the main resource inflation too with the single-use industries as well. There's still other industries that are not single-use that are causing coin inflation, energy inflation, all of this. That's going to get addressed. But in doing this, we also kind of nerfed a lot of the social features. So it's not as easy to run into friends as it used to be. It's not as easy to work together. It's not as easy to have those casual hangouts that used to be inside of chapter 1. And I actually think if we want to achieve all of our goals, that was a fun piece of magic inside of the game that we need to bring back. So the team kind of has like a 30-day, like, I don't want to say red alert, but we're changing focus for the next 30 days. We have bigger things that we're working on, like chapter 3, that we might put a pause on for 30 days to address some of these short-term issues. Chapter 3, it's still going to move. We still believe in the long-term game systems, all of this kind of stuff. But there's a lot of really easy wins that we can put all of these resources in the team on to kind of unlock more fun in the gameplay, change some of the economics that might make it feel better for users. And then it might bring us closer to the goals that we want to achieve too. So yeah, some examples of social features that we talked about and give us some feedback on what you might want to see is we're really interested in expanding the UGC system that we have. It's funny because I don't think everybody knows what UGC means at this point.
No, like
And we
it's an object in the game.
Yeah, I think some people think that UGC means just in-game object, even if we make it. But UGC actually means user-generated content. So right now, the UGC functionality that we have inside of the game is all centered around decorations, right? Now, there's some really interesting thing here. Everything that you see in the game, we build with our own UGC tools. Everything that you see in the game, right? Which is really cool. And one thing that we're going to start to experiment with, and this is kind of like 30-day plan to see like what we can do in 30 days, is there any of that functionality that we can actually open up to our users? Now, I'm saying like the tooling that we have is crazy powerful. It's actually one of our biggest advantages and one of our biggest like differentiators across other projects out there, right? That we just have not used. Like if you guys remember even pre-chapter 1, how you guys were able to customize and build your farms. Let me just show people again, because I think people know that we have these tools. I just want to show like the power of it basically really quickly. This is how the team goes and makes updates into the game. I'll share my screen really quickly.
What are you sharing?
Just the map builder. Just to kind of show like an idea.
Yeah. Is there echo?
Maybe. I've been told I echo a little bit lately.
I hear myself through you. Maybe
Okay,
I don't know.
Yeah, let me fix that actually. Okay, that might be better now.
Okay, let's test it.
Oh, that didn't
Yep.
work.
Oh, it worked for me. I don't hear it.
1 second. Yeah, there's just some stuff coming through my monitor, but it's fine. Yes, this is how we build maps inside of Pixels right now. This is literally in production. I can change the world without any code updates. And what's interesting too is there's this concept of entities. Basically, every single item in the game is that has some kind of functionality is what we call an entity. Basically, it's an object that can do things. It can teleport, it can create a resource, it can like have crazy animations. If you click on it, it can do something, it can talk back to you. This is the kind of functionality that we're very interested in seeing what happens if we open this up to the community. Now, yeah, exactly. Scriptable UGCs.
Yeah, there's no like
Oh,
logic gates. But yeah,
I
there's some
mean,
cool scriptable stuff in there.
wait, that's so interesting. Well, that would be a really good example of like this is how redstone in Minecraft works, basically. That would be really easy UGC for us to make. So there's a couple of different approaches that we're gonna be doing with this, basically. Like one thing that we can do. Oh, let me see if I can find this actually. There was one really great example of very low effort UGC that we can do, and then there's like the next example of full scripting that we can do. I have that .mov. I gotta put this into my browser. Let's see if I can do that. So there's two ways that we can go in the UGC route. We're gonna try to do the best way, but there's also really tiny game elements like this. Like we're about to add this into the game, right?
Okay, not this art.
Yeah, the art's gonna
Just think of the
change.
concept.
Yeah, but like there's also some other small things that we can do too. Like if we added like teleport pads in your farms where you can like link them together, teleport from one side of the farm to the other. Like there's interesting gameplay that opens up if we introduce this kind of stuff, right? Or even if we just gave you like in-game objects like this. Now, the next level is like if we actually gave you guys full scripting ability in the UGC elements, that's interesting. But then there's also, on the topic of social features, other asks that you guys have too, like things like a friends list or like we talked about like a kudo system. But yeah, there's basically like next 30 days, there's going to be a strong focus on cleaning up some of the game economy and then adding in some social features back into the game. And then, continuing work on some of the longer term, like more fun end game features too. Next week, you can expect some other updates too that just will improve the gameplay as well. We're adding in like a new Fatui first time user experience. So there's going to be a whole new onboarding flow and gameplay experience for new users that we're working on. And kind of the end goal of what we're working towards here is we want to basically make Pixels ready to release on mobile when it's ready. So we can't get Pixels on mobile until the onboarding experience is very good. And it feels very easy to learn how to play the game. You don't need to watch a YouTube video. We need to make sure that the end game is there, and we need good systems for live content updates too. And the game needs to be fun. So we're trying to get Pixels there. And like, if I'm putting a timeline on this, like I want Pixels mobile ready in like 3 months when it comes to gameplay, right? So 30 days of like basically strong focus on economy, social, fun, and then still doing some of the work on these longer term gameplay systems is kind of the plan. And then, yeah, other ecosystem news. Staking it will be going live in April. There might be some cool announcements coming out this week in regards to staking and ecosystem and what we're doing there, and maybe even some more later this month. They're big. I'm excited. So yeah, watch out over the next day or two for some cool announcements. Get excited about them. They'll be cool. And yeah, it'll be a interesting next chapter for what we're doing on the ecosystem and what we're doing with like the pixel token in that use case too. So yeah, watch out for that news. Get excited about it. Get hyped because it's good for all of us. It's one of those things. It's like a win-win-win scenario. So I'm hyped about it. I want to hype it up a little bit. It is
I'm so excited. It's like,
I know
oh,
it's
I'm working
I
on it
literally
so
posted a tweet
much.
being like, focus on fundamentals, not hype. But this one is one of those things that is
This is both.
fundamental. Yeah, this is great for the fundamentals of the token and great for what we're doing here. So yeah, maybe before we get into some questions, we'll just talk about token really quickly and game plan around that. So yeah, one of the things that we're going to be doing is, the token that we're working on, and helping support the Pixel token, right? We're trying to help position the Pixel token as a multi-game token. What you're seeing in the market right now is gaming tokens across the board are not really getting respected in the way that they should. It's crazy because they're actually some of the best fundamental use cases of crypto, and they have the most users. They're generating the most revenue. Pixels generated more revenue than Polygon and Immutable last year, which is kind of crazy, right? And it's funny because I think the market cap of Pixel is trading at like a 2x to revenue multiplier. That's crazy low in Web 2. Normally, companies in like startup stage trade like 15, maybe like 20x sometimes. So there's clearly something that's getting missed when it comes to the fundamentals. When you think about like the market right now. Now, markets can be irrational in the short term, not in the long term, most likely though, right? Even though markets can be irrational longer than you would hope sometimes. Like, there's plenty of, you look at examples of other markets, there's plenty of examples of stocks that make no sense. They're overvalued, but they stay that way for so long, right? So markets can be irrational in both directions. Now, yeah, you can see with the launch of like a recent token, Guns, there still isn't like a strong belief in the single game token narrative. And what we're working on at Pixels is I think that every team that launches a token needs a bigger vision for the token than just a single game. And we've had that this entire time, right? Like at Pixels, our core mission statement has been we want to figure out play to earn, and we want to bring that to the masses and even bring play to earn to Web 2 if we can do it in the right way, right? These concepts of play to earn, like I think they're so competitive against Web 2 games where every Web 2 game will eventually have to be play to earn in some aspect if they want to compete. So the cool thing that we're about to do is we're about to have Pixel work in more than just one game. It already works in Pixel Dungeons, but it's going to work in even more games too. The market being bad right now is not good for us, but it's also not bad for us in certain ways too, because what that does is that gives us opportunity, because it's not just bad for us, it's bad for other people too, right? So there's an interesting use case where Pixels can go a little further on the publishing side and work with other games to have them use the Pixel token. And in return, we have Pixel positioned as more of like a multi-game token, right? So it's not just a single game token, but it's more like, if you were buying an index on game tokens, right? Because Pixel covers the risk across multiple games that way, not just a single game. Because single games, even in Web 2, there's this thing where they'll have like a ton of traction and then they'll like slowly drip off. And that's actually like a completely normal thing in Web 2 games. You would love for a game to be what you call evergreen, but happens out of like, 1 out of 100 games hit in Web 2, 1 out of 100 hits become an evergreen game, right? So when you're thinking about that from like a market perspective, it makes a lot more sense to buy an indexed bet than a single game bet, right? So I think that's maybe one of the issues with Guns right now, and maybe one of the narrative issues that the Pixel token had too. And that's something that we're kind of patching up right now. And then the other thing that we're working on too is kind of that like decentralized publishing model, and that will be kind of encaptured by our staking. So you'll see staking go live probably mid-April, maybe end of April. Mid-April is still the target date. It's getting wrapped up now, and I'm super excited about it. What we'll probably do is release the white paper on the day that staking releases. It's funny. We might even launch staking no white paper and just be like, you'll understand it. It's really not that complicated. How our staking system is going to work is, you'll be able to stake to multiple games inside of the Pixel ecosystem, and yeah, they'll reward you for helping them basically get like the pixel that they need to help grow their game. So it's kind of a win-win scenario for gamers, for people that believe in the ecosystem, for the games, all of that. Expect that mid-April. we expect staking to be pretty competitive with other ecosystems out there, and it's going to unlock a lot. So that's kind of the token update and what you can expect there.
Would you like to address this?
Guys, I spent 30 minutes talking about the core game.
How dare you mention the rest? No, guys, I'm about to leak a bunch of merchant ship stuff. Core game is being worked on so intensely by the internal team, and but obviously, like we have like long-term goals for the core game loop, obviously, but also for the pixel ecosystem as a whole. So I know talks about it all the time, but so, don't worry, core game is being worked on.
How here's where the core game sits into the ecosystem, right? The core game should be the pride and joy of the ecosystem, right? It should be the flagship game that proves that the other ecosystem stuff that we're doing works, right? So if the stuff that we're doing in the core game isn't working, it's not very strong. It's not a very strong ecosystem stuff, right? So the better that the core game performs, the better the ecosystem can perform. And it's a flywheel, right? The better the ecosystem performs, the better the core game performs. So what I always think about when I think about building systems is how can we create flywheels? And I don't know if you know what a flywheel is. Basically, it's something that when it starts working, it helps other things work, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. So we need to kick off that flywheel, right? If we do this ecosystem stuff right, and if we build the core game right, there's a great flywheel potential there where these things help each other get much better.
No, chat is just funny today. I'm just like thoroughly enjoying it. Like I pick your poison, I guess, you know.
It's easier to, yeah, it's way easier to leak.
Yeah, and then this offended me. Okay, look, I know Luke and I have different interests. Okay. I like the fun, cute stuff. He likes the economics. There's balance here. Okay. Anyways, should we show some merchant ships?
We should.
I think we should. Okay. Where should we start here? So let's show the release video. How about that? So the release video is kind of like, picture yourself, you're in the middle of it. You know, you've been playing for a while, and this is like what you go through, those kind of steps. So let's play it. And I think it's kind of short, so we can play it twice like we did before. Wait, hold on. Should we play it a second time? Did you guys catch it?
I like listening. I will say it. I've been reading a book on pirates lately.
Really?
Pirate music was, yeah, I like that. We should play one more time.
Someone's saying copyright our music. It's copyright free music. Chill, okay? All right, let's play it one more time. Okay, so that's the release video. It does sound
play
like
again. Play again.
It does sound like Pirates of the Caribbean. I know. Look, guys, I only use copyright free music, so I think that tune is probably copyright free at this point. So, anyways, yeah, that's it. So yeah, you're immersed in it. You're walking around in your costume. So you guys might have seen a sneak peek. There is a rotating store that will constantly be rotating out items, new ones coming in, old ones coming back, all of that. So you can pick up, for example, that fun costume that that the character in the video was wearing. I was going to say that I was wearing. It's just a user. And there is a new currency called Buoy bucks. So those are earned through the contracts, and those are the only currency used to purchase these fun items at the rotating shop. So there's lots of fun stuff. Yeah, it's gonna be cool. The art is sick. The art is so cool. You know what? I'm just gonna I'll share my screen here. So this is an internal environment, so keep that in mind. There's some things. It's still Christmas in here, apparently. Okay, so here we are. So you're gonna start by talking to Marina right in Terravilla, and she's gonna tell you all about the Terravilla port. Where to find it, all of that. You know what? I'm going to leave it to you guys to read through all of that. We're just going to head straight to the beach where the port has appeared and the merchant fleet has docked.
You're not sharing screen.
I'm not?
I got you.
Did you guys see Marina?
No, I don't think it. No one saw.
Can I go back? Okay, she's not that special. Okay, you know. We'll go back. Anyways, Marina will be placed right next to the fountain in Terravilla, so you can chat with her, say hello, all of that. Oh, and yeah, this is the internal environment. I was joking, it's still Christmas in here. But anyways, let's just head straight down to the docks that have appeared, the fleet, the merchant fleet. And of course, it's not attached. So give me 2 seconds here and I will get us there.
Yeah. So the key concept behind merchant ships and what it is, it's basically supposed to be like there's bigger orders, and the orders are for higher tier resources, and the intention is like there's other things to earn besides just pixel inside of this
tons of things you can earn.
Yeah, so it's another, if you don't want to participate in this gameplay feature, you don't have to either. Like if you're just a diehard task board person and you come and like see this feature, you're like, nothing I want to do. Well, then that's our fault too. What we need to figure out is how to make you guys want to do these merchant ship tasks, right? So that's gonna be some of the back and forth with you guys.
Yeah, so the art, insane. All right, so we're gonna head straight to Captain McKelpie, I think. McKelpie, right? I like kelp. That makes sense. Never said it out loud. This is an issue every AMA. I need to like say things out loud more often. So we're going to chat with him. He's going to give you a quest just to get you started on your adventures. And he's going to teach you all about merchant fleet, the history of merchant fleet. I'm going to just zoom through this. You guys can read through it on your own. There's some fun lore in there. So take a minute to read through it.
Also, let me bring up this question. How much does this event contain a gamma factor? Suppose whales will be angry if they don't get much out of it. This is not an event. This is a new feature that's staying in the game forever.
Core game loop, permanent. It'll be here forever.
Yeah, I think some people thought this was going to be a short-term
event. Yeah, I think that too. This is not a live ops event. This is permanent, new addition to the game. And like Lucas talked about it so much, so I won't talk too much about it, but it's a huge focus on the higher tier items. So I'll show you. Here's a couple of examples. So you're going to talk to your harbor master, also part of the quest, get to know this guy. And then here are where the contracts live, right? So I already prepared and have a bunch ready to go. I did this one yesterday. So yesterday it doesn't tell you what I did, but so here's a contract, for instance. So blimey, this is a tall charter of goods. If I don't say so myself, West Shackleford's annual tux and gown showdown is prepping, and they need this lofty order for the competition. Great. Okay, so this is what I need to go and get. Either craft, pick up on the marketplace, whatever it may be. Maybe I have some in storage. Grab all these items. So I already have them. As you can tell, I've got my 1 of 1. And then here's what I can receive, right? There's a bunch of different things, some XP. I could receive some buoy bucks. There's also a chance to receive pixel and some storage boxes and some other stuff. So I'm going to fill the request, and then it is shipping out. The order is shipping out. So it's going to take 2 hours to ship. So
this is a good point, actually.
No. Next. Okay. So I was reading one earlier and it was like, hi, matey. And I was like, oh, I can't read this on the AMA. Anyways, yeah, I'm not going to read this again, but here's another one, right? So here's the required items, storage chest. We've got some metalworking kits, silk rope. So once again, I would go and find those items in whatever way I need to, and then fill the request, and then it's going to ship out and take 2 hours. So this is one I don't have ready, right? So there's there's a not tradable item in there. So there's some stuff in here that I'm going to have to definitely go and craft on my own. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So then this one, let's see, claim my reward. All right, I got 36 Buoy bucks from that. Sick. Okay, so like we said, Buoy bucks is a kind of like a currency that's only available within the merchant ship. Sorry, merchant fleet. We've got to correct it. Merchant fleet. So then I can go into the Seaside Stash shop, which I said earlier is a rotating store. So there will be different items coming through, coming back, all in here throughout. So there's some cool stuff. Yeah, so that's basically the gist of it. There's some other fun things that will be added throughout. Like Luke mentioned, we're going to continue to build this out and flesh things out, add things here and there and all of that. So were there any more questions before we dive into some other things?
Oh, I saw one related to this, which I think is, so Luke, this merchant ship will not affect Pixel's pool for task board. What I'll say on this one is we're going to experiment with adding some Pixel to merchant ships just to see how it goes, right? And here, what are we trying to do here at Pixels, right? You know, task board's a good system, but also task board should not be the only system inside of the game, right? And I think that's one of the faults of Pixels right now, where the only gameplay is task board. I am not going to promise that this will not affect the Pixels pool for task board. We might see that this has a ton of success and want to move some Pixel in here. Now, what I will say is the intention behind this feature is we want you guys to also want the other stuff in this feature that is not just the Pixel. Like if we see a ton of success in this feature for merchant ships, what that means is you guys really want the other kind of content that the merchant ship also offers, right? So that's going to be my main judge of success. Like actually, if this was a big Pixel faucet and that was the only way that we could get you guys to do merchant ships, then that's actually not a very successful feature here, is what I would say. So that's the way that we're thinking about it, right? We're going to add some Pixel rewards inside of merchant ships just to see if that changes things a little bit and just to see how it goes. But it's experimental too.
All right, cool. Someone's like, can you completely replace the task board with this? I don't think so, but who knows? Maybe it'll be the most successful thing ever, and people ditch the dashboard and just play this. It definitely has more fun to it. I think it has a lot more narrative and lore around it.
Yeah. You want us to want those? I mean, yeah, we do. And I mean, that's what we'll work on too, right? So if we're not seeing like as much use of this feature, then that means we're gonna have to rethink some of the rewards in there, right? And again, the easiest way to make rewards desirable inside of the game is to build out fun gameplay that uses them. And that's some of the other stuff that we're working on also, right? So yeah, we do want you to want those rewards. That's an important part of this feature, not just Pixel, right? If we want to make this game sustainable, we need to build out fun gameplay that has other rewards that you guys actually want. And again, you're really only going to want those rewards if the game is fun. So that means we need more features besides just task board. Yeah, one thing. Oh, there was another interesting thing too that somebody just brought up. Add Quicksilver as one of the rewards for merchant ships. I think that's
Yeah,
good.
I think we've already talked about there's more things coming, right? I know we keep saying that. There's going to be more type. There's like one kind of reward which Leaky Luke would probably leak if he thought to, but I won't. That's so cool and like really, it'll be really, really cool for you guys. There's new boosts coming, those like tikis. Hold on, let me see if I can like leak a tiki. They're so cool. I put a bunch in the I don't know what they're called. I don't know what they're called. I put a bunch in the release video, like right at the end. The art is so cool. Let me see if I can pull some up.
I'll bring up this question next too.
Keep going.
Okay, yeah. So somebody asked, can you replace the task board completely then with this? Is that possible? I mean, one thing that we're talking about a lot is what are other systems that we can add next to the task board? One of the things that I kind of miss is that Barney's Bazaar mechanic that we have. We've been talking about what would that look like if we brought that back on a permanent basis too, as like another mechanic to earn some in-game items or pixel. I really like the idea of having multiple ways to earn pixel besides just the task board. So that's some of the stuff that we're rethinking right now as well, basically. You know, roadmap. It's basically, it doesn't really change our higher level roadmap. Like chapter 3 will be the next big feature that we work on after this. And what I'll say with chapter 3 is it's not as crazy of an economic change as chapter 2 was, right? Like we did the work on the core game economics in chapter 2. Chapter 3 won't change like mid and beginning gameplay. Chapter 3 will be centered around late stage gameplay, right? So basically adding in another set of features that's kind of like merchant ships, but maybe a little bit more involved than merchant ships even, because there's, you know, some kind of competition or cooperative element, and it adds more gameplay that way too. So that's what we're thinking about chapter 3. Chapter 3 will not be as drastic to core gameplay experience as chapter 2. It adds more things for people to do at the end of the game. And then, yeah, I'm always looking for new things besides just task board to do.
Okay, here's one of the boosts. So obviously this one is tree themed. Like, how cool is the art? I'm upset. Like, I want it purely because of the art. Look at that. Like, yeah, it's creepy and I'm obsessed with it. Okay, here's just the last one I'm going to share because, oh my gosh.
Okay.
What'd you say? Cool.
What'd you say? Oh my gosh, too.
Were you not looking? Here, I'll show again. I'll show again. Are you ready? Oh, no, I shared the wrong thing. Give me a second. It's chaos over here. This one.
Okay.
Look at it.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
It's so cool.
Yeah, I saw some other questions too. Didn't you guys say you were partnering with another game/project soon? Maybe. What else? Wolf Guy said, I love the data approach of Pixels. Wondering if you are opening to partnering with games outside of Ronin, on Somnia, for example. My team would love to share data in exchange for sustainable economics tech. It's funny, people were clowning me in the last AMA, being like, who would want that? Pixels sucks at this. No, that's what I'm saying. You know, we haven't figured out everything, right? But I've actually been shocked at how few teams in Web3 have a data science team. We do. We have a very staffed data science team and a lot of support around there. And honestly, it might even grow in the next little bit. And I mean, I understand why a lot of teams don't have it. It's hard, it's expensive, and yeah, it's not something that like a normal like beginning stage team can staff themselves. Basically, they have to focus on building a game, and we do too. But you know, we've been in a luckier position where we can basically have a data science team to help support the game and get some of these deeper insights now. But it's a service that we can offer to other teams as well too. So I mean, yeah, what I'll say is on the data science side, we're pretty open to working with everybody. You know, play to earn is bigger than Pixels. It's bigger than all of this, right? And we want to help any team figure out how they can build out really good play to earn tech behind their game. And the great thing is, you know, we have a lot of insights on that already. We increased our return on reward spend from like 28% to like 80% in a few months, right? And that's with the game not being as good of a state as it can be. The really cool thing about working with other games is, you know, they might actually have a better game economy than where Pixels was at with chapter 1 and other areas too. Like we had to put in a lot of work, to fix chapter 1 game economy, and then also chapter 2 game economy when things didn't go as well as they should. Some teams have some of that figured out better than we did, right? And it might even be plug and play a little bit easier. So yeah, hit us up. We have my DMs are open on this kind of stuff, and I think Web3 gaming is better when everybody works together. Is all I'll say on that one. How do you plan to implement pixels into the new Pets game, considering it's supposed to be for casuals? How will they buy pixels with no wallets? Pets game is moving along. Sorry, you're getting this light. Yeah, it's looking really good. Yeah, you can pet your app. Let me show you some more. There's mini games inside of this Pets game. This one's kind of funny.
That I didn't realize we implemented. I'm obsessed with that game. Okay. I have quite a high score on that game, actually.
Oh yeah, do you? Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I mean, so this is just like these mini games are like they're getting made. We're like basically making our own versions of them inside of a game. But I'm so excited about this app. I think mostly because I love this kind of app. Like I was a Sush Power user. I played it for like 6 months straight.
He brought it up in like every internal call.
I know.
Like he was sharing a pet with one of our devs and would just be like, "It's gonna die. Like, why haven't you fed him yet?"
Yeah, it's crazy. So you can buy your pet clothes, save their outfits. I don't have enough coins to get any outfit right now. There's skins, there's wallpapers that you can buy. I need to get more coins. Yeah, you can have multiple pets. You raise the pet with another user, so you can chat with that user. Let me type a message. Hey.
Wait, I'm so confused. What does this even mean? A flying pet partner? Like you would put it in a closet? What does
Yeah,
that mean?
there's like a list of tasks that you get inside of the game. And then yeah, there's also leaderboards.
I see. That'd be cool.
And then what's interesting about this game, this is what Black Sheep was asking, is you're not gonna need a wallet to start to play the game. Yeah, so if I go through the game, I'll go back to my pet list. You only have to add a wallet. You guys see this? You only have to add your wallet or your Pixels account, after the game, basically if you want to claim rewards. Now, we can do a couple things there. We can create wallets on behalf of users. I think one team that's nailed this experience actually really recently is, how will they buy Pixels without any, with no wallets. Pirate Nation kind of already solved this, to be honest. Pirate Nation has, let's see if this loads up, a way to buy their VIP subscriptions either with Pirate or with credit card. And what that does in this game is you basically buy the Pirate with credit card. It's this button that is spinning right now. I feel bad for demoing their stuff if it doesn't show up right now. But yeah, they have really, really good UX on how to buy on-chain items with a credit card. And yeah, we can do that fine. Now, our priority with getting the Pets app live is we want to get it in the App Store. And here's the timeline around that one. So it's kind of ready for early access right now. There's a little bit more polishing that we want to do before we get it out into users' hands. Because basically we make builds every week on this Pets app that completely break it and you have to restart, right? So it's not super fun to give to users in early access until the build is a little bit more stable, right? And then we plan a full go-to-market release. Probably the timeline around that is like mid-June, most likely. So if you could see, there's like still a few features that we need to polish. One of the things that we're going to be working on a lot is like the social experience with that game and making sure it's really tight. So if you saw that there were leaderboards, this game is not supposed to be super competitive. We're going to be making it so there's leaderboards with your friends and your friends of friends, for example. Here's how I'm kind of envisioning it. And like there's some funny stuff with this. This is the kind of app or the game that you play with like really close friends, or maybe that like person that you're interested in, your crush, right? And yeah, imagine that you're playing this game with your crush, and you see that your crush is raising a pet with another person. How much more competitive would you be against that person? If I see my crush raising a pet with somebody else, I'm gonna make sure that our pet's way better. I know that for sure. um, yeah, so it'll be a fun app. Don't take it seriously. It's just supposed to be fun. And then yeah, we'll add some Web3 elements into it, but it's not supposed to be like a earn app. It's supposed to be a fun app that has Web3 elements in it, and the Web3 elements are supposed to make it better and be more for like the end game too. So for example, like your pets, if you have a pets NFT, we want to get those into this game. It might not come at launch. There's some art that we have to do, but the intention is basically integrating your current pets NFTs into this game. But that would be like the most rare pets, right? Like the pets NFTs would be the ones that are like, dang, people really want them. There's a really interesting thing that we can do with maybe pet minting in the long run too through this app. Like you can only mint like the craziest pets. And like the capybara pet would be like the most common one, right? If you were able to even mint that one. We might not even let minting of pets happen and just have that integration at endgame. And then rewards will kind of be oriented just towards like more of the social features, or maybe they might even be gated behind NFTs. The goal with the Web3 elements basically is we want to make it so that the game can grow even better than the Web2 game would grow, right? So it does mean creating incentives for things like sharing and referring and hitting certain milestones around retention. But then also, we don't want the game to be botted. So gating it behind certain things would be interesting also. So that's kind of the thing on Pets app. Oh, somebody said, I want to socialize in Pixels more. We agree with you. Again, we kind of went over that earlier in the AMA. That's one of the things that Pixels is missing right now. And that's some of the stuff that we're working on bringing back into the game immediately. Again, I said 30-day plan in this AMA. But like the key point I'm trying to make behind that is there's a bit of urgency on the team to start to bring in some of these features back right now, because we think that's one of the things that if we get that in the short term, it makes the game significantly more fun quicker. The socializing features. And then same thing with some of the economy features too, right? If we spend a little bit more time just digging through and not working on chapter 3 for like the next 30 days, but instead working on some of the current issues in front of us, that's probably worth it also. Getting like game economy into an even more stable spot probably makes the game much more fun. And that's kind of the intention, right?
Okay, we're at time, if you can believe it. Any last things you wanted to address? It's been a good AMA. Oh my gosh, I can't even say it. It's been a good AMA.
Somebody said this: when hunting and fishing in Pixels, are you afraid of PETA? Guys, people were really sad when chickens started dying in the game. Not everybody wants that stuff. Even some people don't like fishing. Some people love fishing too.
Okay, I'm going to be leaky Luke for a sec, okay? There might be a little fishing component coming. Just a little. Tiny.
Is Merchant Ships releasing today?
Maybe.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's fun because it took us a long time to get some of these things moving, right? Now, if you've seen, we've been updating a lot more. That's so much more fun to us. We can be like a little bit like maybe now this time, and maybe it actually will come, right?
Maybe it won't.
Yeah, maybe it won't though. Yeah, but I think we're getting some of our confidence back with shipping, which is great. So yeah, more updates, more often, more urgency on the team. And yeah, no, it's a more fun time to be building right now. Yeah, market does what the market does in the short term. I still have a strong belief that fundamentals win out in the long run. Yeah, I know a lot of people are kind of scared about where Web3 gaming is at right now, but I think everybody is here because you guys know what can happen with Web3, right? And you guys know the interesting stuff here, and you all believe. This team here is trying our best to make it happen also. So yeah, there's some fun stuff that's coming, and the team is still doing these AMAs. We're still shipping. We're still building.
There's
And
so many puns available now, just using the word ship.
yeah.
You
All
know,
right.
is Merchant Fleet shipping today?
Great. Well, yeah.
I don't know.
Stick around. You'll see some fun stuff coming. Big week in terms of like updates, announcements this week. I think April will be a great month. I'm excited.
Yeah, cool. All right. Thank you guys for a great AMA. And yeah, keep your eyes open, keep your emails refreshed and your Discord notifications on.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Bye guys.